Oh look, a SUUNTO Ambit2 and a mustache. Deal with it. Ginger Runner. What's up everybody? Ethan Newberry, the Mustachioed Ginger Runner here for another GingerRunner.com review. Today, I'm reviewing an awesome product that I've been rocking for the last couple of months, really putting it through the most rigorous of tests. It is the SUUNTO Ambit2. Look at that. That is a watch. Definitely for those of you who run ultras, who are out there adventuring, exploring, going out for long periods of time in the mountains, and you want to be able to track all of your data. If you're doing smaller distances or speed work or run mostly roads, I don't know if this is the watch for you. There are a number of other options out there, both by SUUNTO and Garmin, that might be more suited to your needs. Okay, so first of all, let's talk about the differences between the SUUNTO Ambit2 and the Ambit1. The main feature, and this is really the selling point of this watch, is it has multi-sport functionality. This watch actually has a triathlon feature. It can track swimming. It's decent on biking, but that triathlon mode is great because you're able to switch between each discipline on the fly while you're competing. I didn't do any brick work or pool training. I really wasn't able to determine if this watch is going to be the best triathlon watch for you. But I did come to the conclusion that this watch is better than the Garmin Fenix. And here is why. After my last comparison video, I chose the Garmin Fenix mainly because it fit my wrist amazingly well. It was comfortable, it was light, and it had all the features that I really needed in an adventure watch and an ultra marathon watch. I wanted to be able to track my long runs and my races without having to swap watches halfway through. What I discovered was that the Garmin Fenix did not live up to the hype. Perfect example, during the Squamish 50-mile race, the watch died with 30% battery remaining 4 miles from the finish line. You just don't do that. And when you do, you make the ginger angry, and when you make the ginger angry, he grows a mustache. In addition to that, the Garmin Fenix ended up failing a number of times on subsequent runs where it just would crash and I wouldn't be able to track my run, or it would be all messed up, and I would be so frustrated out in the middle of nowhere on the trails trying to get my watch to track where I was. Ugh, my blood pressure is just going up right now thinking about it. To the rescue comes SUUNTO. Now, I was already familiar with the Ambit1. The Ambit2 is not much different. The user interface is identical. The feature set is nearly identical. You're not gonna get too much of a different watch if you already have the Ambit1. Don't really worry about upgrading to the Ambit2. In addition to the Ambit2, they now have two additional watches, the Ambit2s and the Ambit2 Sapphire. The Ambit2s is mainly a triathlon watch. The battery life is not as great. It has the multi-sport feature. It has some really cool colored bezels. And there's actually quite a bit of price difference between those three watches, so definitely look into each of them in case one of them meets your needs more than this one. I really like this one. It's kind of middle price range of the three, but the feature set is extremely strong. It will be the most expensive piece of gear you probably have in your running arsenal. It's also gonna last you the longest. All right, enough dilly-dallying. Let's get on with the review and the things that I like and dislike about the SUUNTO Ambit2. Things that I like. Connection speed. This watch connects to satellites almost instantly, and that is a huge plus in my book. Comparing it to the Fenix would take minutes sometimes. You'd have to take it off your wrist, set it on your car, or set it on a picnic table, and let it connect before you could even use it. This watch, within seconds, no matter where I've been, it connects to satellite. It beats all my friends' watches, and I like that. The multi-sport features. Now, I did say that I didn't use the multi-sport features too much. I did fiddle with them. I like that they are now in the Ambit series. While I wouldn't say this is your best option for a triathlon, if you are an ultra runner as well as an Ironman competitor, then this watch could be really fun for you to kind of play around on both sides of that spectrum. Ultra tracking. Now, this watch just added a new feature where it can actually track GPS signal every 10 seconds. You used to only have the option of 1 second or 60-second GPS ping intervals. Now they've added that 10-second interval, which greatly increases battery life. With 1 second intervals, I believe the watch will last anywhere from 10 to 15 hours, which is great. With the 10-second interval, I believe it lasts up to 24 hours. I've had it last a very long time. And with the 60-second interval, it'll last for 17 years? No, it'll last about 50 hours. And I believe that claim. And that dovetails into my next like, battery life. The Garmin never lived up to its advertised durations. The Ambit2 does. It'll just last a long time, and it charges quickly. I like that. Dope. Word. Multi-view. I actually really like this about this watch. You can only display 3 pieces of information at a time, but you can customize the layout and what sort of data you want to display at any given time. Heart rate monitor comfort. That's pretty much the simple one. The heart rate monitor is really comfortable. Feels good. The watch is rugged. I put this thing through the paces and I don't have a single scratch on the watch itself. I have some dings and scratches on the straps, But the straps are replaceable, so for any reason I break a strap, replace it. Easy. With the Ambit2 Sapphire, you even get a more beefy bezel. And it looks amazing. You even get that sapphire glass, whatever that means. I'm guessing you can't carve your initials into it. But you pay for it. And finally, apps. With the Ambit1, you were only able to download one app at a time to use within this watch, one little feature. Now you can have as many as you want. I'm not gonna say that they're all great, but if there's a number of apps that you would want to put on this watch, like how much time you have left before you finish your marathon, how many beers that you've burned while you ran, you can download them and put them on your watch. Take a look at them while you're running. It's pretty cool. Cool feature. Good job. Now, just because there's a lot that I like about the SUUNTO Ambit2 doesn't mean that there's things that I don't like, because there are things that I dislike about the SUUNTO Ambit2. The big dislike, and it's a carryover from the Ambit1, is the fit and discomfort that I feel when I wear it. Now, the Ambits have this nub that sticks out here on the side, which is, I'm guessing, the barometer, altimeter, GPS tracking beacon or whatever it is, and it sits on the wrong side of the watch in my opinion. It should sit on the other side, because as it sits on my wrist, it tilts the watch away from my vision, which makes it uncomfortable. When I tighten it down, it doesn't fit quite right on my wrist, and it kind of bugs me. I lose track of it while I'm running an ultra because I'm thinking about other things, like not dying. But when I'm on my afternoon runs or running around local trails or roads and I have that on my wrist, I notice it, and that's the problem. No vibrating alert or interval. Now you can set one interval on this watch, which I discovered. It can either be a distance or a time interval, and it will beep at you whenever that happens. I like it to beep at me every mile just to remind me, hey, you're 7 miles into a run. For a race, I might change that to a 40-minute interval or 30-minute interval, depending on when I want to remind myself to eat. But the problem is that it only beeps, and if you're listening to music or you have headphones in or you're talking to someone while you're racing, you're not going to hear it, and it's a really quiet beep. I much rather have a vibrating alert. Vibrating wrist reminder. Meow. It's the stash. The stash is making me creepy. The watch is computer dependent. Now the problem with the Ambit line that I've discovered is that you have to plug it into a computer and have to be connected to the internet to be able to adjust any of the major settings on your watch. If you want to change how it looks or different settings that you have displayed, you have to go online to do it. You have to have your computer connected to your watch. Even while you're on the run, there's very little you can change on the fly. Kind of a pain in the ass. Load times and computer interaction. This is different than my previous dislike. When you plug it into the computer, it automatically starts loading 2 moves count online, which is fine, but it takes forever. If you have one run that you want to just plug in and load online, you have to wait for a good 3 minutes before it all loads. You can't just select that one run. And that's because the watch is not treated like a hard drive when you plug it into your computer. And that's another major problem. SUUNTO does not want any other website, any other program to access the SUUNTO Ambits. I can't log into Strava, which is the site that I'm currently using to track all my runs, and tell it to look for my SUUNTO Ambit. I have to go to my SUUNTO Ambit, upload to Moves Count, export from Moves Count to my hard drives, then upload those files directly to Strava. It's a pain in the ass. It takes a long time, and I don't like it. You're making the mustache mad. It's pricey. For the Ambit2s, you're looking at $425. For the Ambit2 Black, you're looking at $465. For the Ambit2 Sapphire, you're looking at $600 or more. That is an incredible amount of money to spend on one piece of gear. However, I will absolutely say that GPS technology, my watches, have been my core piece of gear in all of my runs and all of my racing and training over the last 5 years. So be prepared to spend money if you're looking at purchasing a GPS watch. I will say that this is just the most expensive end of that spectrum. Apps. I know I included it in my like column because I do like the ability to download apps onto the watch, but I also don't like the apps. A lot of them are junk. A lot of them were designed by people that may not know what the hell they're doing, and now the entire app store is just full of stupid apps. There's very little in the way of checks and balances on that end of the app store, so you just have to be cautious of which apps you're downloading, which have been rated and used by multiple users. Just know what you're getting into. And finally, accuracy. I have friends rocking Garmin's of all sorts and people rocking SUUNTO's of all sorts. I will say that the data that I've collected off of this watch never matches up to anybody's. That could be the GPS dropping out, or it could also be that it's in a bad mood that day. I don't know. I'm okay with it. There's really no way to know whose watch is the most accurate unless you're at a very specific distance. I will say that during the Cuyamaca 100K, it tracked 62.1 miles, which in my mind is 100% perfect. So that's it for my likes and dislikes about the SUUNTO Ambit 2. I, again, like this watch. It is my only watch that I'm using currently. It's a beast, it's uncomfortable on my wrist, but it gives me the data that I want, even though I have to go through 3 extra steps just to get that data uploaded to Strava. What I'm really curious about is if you are using any sort of SUUNTO Ambit 1, 2S, Sapphire, any of the Ambit series, let me know in the comments below and let me know what you think about them. If you have any additional questions about the SUUNTO Ambit 2 that I did not answer, please ask them in the comments below and I will answer them accordingly. But before I go, I've got to get to the points. Quality on the SUUNTO Ambit 2. 4 out of 5. I had to mark them down for the software, having to go through the computer to do everything. I wish it was more accurate, but overall, it's been a pleasant experience. 4 out of 5. Comfort, 3 out of 5. As I mentioned, it has this giant nub on the outside of the watch. I wish it was on the other side. It would actually fit my wrist a little bit better, but because it is where it is, it doesn't hurt, but it's uncomfortable. 3 out of 5. Price, 3 out of 5. It'll be the most expensive piece of gear that you're wearing while you run, or unless you run with gold rings inside of a Bugatti, in which case, can I get a ride? But in my mind, it's one of the best pieces of gear you can carry just because it tracks everything. I love it. I'm a data freak, so having this sort of piece of gear in my arsenal is a huge bonus. And finally, looks. I'm gonna give it a 4 out of 5. Comparing this to the Garmin Fenix, I'm kind of split down the middle. The Fenix has a little bit more traditional, hard-edged feel. This looks a little bit more futuristic, a little bit more rugged. I'm gonna call it a draw between the two. Between this and the Sapphire, I'm gonna say the Sapphire is a beautiful watch, but I do like the Darth Vader look of the all black. That brings our total for the SUUNTO Ambit 2 to 14 out of 20. A really great score for a really great watch. There's a couple of little things that I wish that they could improve upon, which I'm sure they will in future versions. If you have the Ambit 1, I don't know if it's worth the upgrade. If you don't have anything and you're looking for an adventure watch, the SUUNTO Ambit 2, Ambit2 Sapphire, or Ambit2s, which is more of a multi-sport watch, are gonna be great options for you. So that's it. Yay. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please share it. That's really the best way for me to expand this channel and to expand the different products that I'm reviewing all the time. But also don't forget to subscribe, youtube.com/thegingerrunner. I'm posting videos every single week, sometimes more than one, hey-yo. I'm on all the social networks. You can find me on Twitter @thegingerrunner, over on Facebook, facebook.com/thegingerrunner, on Instagram @EthanNewberry, and of course, gingerrunner.com, where I'm posting blogs, all these videos, and a whole bunch of really awesome giveaways there all the time. Thanks for watching, guys. You're all very swell. I hope you're enjoying your time out there, and get ready, because my mustache is not going away anytime soon. Get out there, train hard, race harder, party hardest, train, race, beer.